I've got an important secret to share with you all. It's something I've really got to get off my chest. This will be a revelation that some of you may not be prepared for, but here goes nothing. Massachusetts is not the only state to have a city named Boston. I know, crazy. But you're probably wondering what other state could possibly have a town called Boston? Not really. I made the title, so I know that you know it's Virginia, unless you didn't read it. Why are you here if you didn't read it? Are you even real? As the saying goes, if I had a nickel for every Boston there is in Virginia, I'd only have 3 nickels, but it's weird that it happened 3 times. Welcome to American Points of Interest, my series covering weird American towns or geographical features and trying to convince you that they are actually points of interest and not just subjects that are interesting to me. If you have any recommendations for future videos, please leave them in the comments and you will be credited as such. Anyway, let's get into why there are 3 Bostons in Virginia. Boston, Massachusetts is one of the oldest cities in the country, having been founded in 1630, and is home to over 650,000 residents in its city proper. Boston has had a very important historical impact throughout its history, especially during the American Revolution, so it's not surprising that a settlement in a different part of the country would want to name themselves after a place of such importance. This is actually a relatively common occurrence in the United States, so much so that I've already made a video covering the phenomenon of American towns naming themselves after major American cities. Part 2 coming soon, by the way, but if you want to watch the original, it's right here. So what is the story of the 3 Bostons in Virginia? To start, let's talk about what I like to call the first Boston, Virginia example that we have, which is this one, located in the northern part of the state in a quiet part of Culpeper County. It is an unincorporated community and doesn't have any current population statistics, and finding really any information about this place is a little difficult. From what I gathered, the town was settled sometime in the early 1800s and was a thriving community with a general store and post office. By the late 1800s, though, the population had already begun dwindling, down to somewhere around 100 residents by 1895, most likely as a result of its remote location and the lack of rail infrastructure in the region. While the reasoning behind the naming of this Boston in Virginia is a bit of a mystery, it is assumed that it was most likely named after Boston, Massachusetts. Moving on to our second Boston, Virginia. I don't really know how I can distinguish these two. Let's just refer to this one as Boston 2. While researching this video, which was originally supposed to be about just 2 examples of a Boston in Virginia, I found this one, the mysterious, elusive third Boston. See, Boston 2 here isn't actually a town per se, it's listed as a census-designated place, which is a tool the government uses to get accurate statistical data in rural areas. It was only added to the registry during the 2010 census, but Accomack County has been populated ever since the 1600s, so it's really anyone's guess why the US government decided to name this place Boston, despite there already being a Boston listed as a population center in the same state. But I'm sure it was a good reason. Why would the US government ever make a bad decision that isn't for the betterment of the country? Ever. I don't think they've actually ever done that before. Anyway, moving on, let's talk about the third Boston in Virginia, which originally sparked my interest in this topic. South Boston, Virginia. Located in Halifax County in the southern part of the state, South Boston is home to around 8,000 residents. The history of this area dates all the way back to 1796, when there was originally a settlement known as Boyd's Ferry on the south side of the Dan River. But after a flood in 1811 had destroyed the town, a new settlement sprung up on the north side, presumably also called Boyd's Ferry. It wouldn't be until 1884 that the town wanted to become incorporated, naming themselves after Boston, Massachusetts. But that name had already been taken, more than likely by Boston 1 all the way up in Culpeper County. So they instead chose the name South Boston, an entire 140 miles south of Boston, Virginia, and nearly 600 miles south of Boston, Massachusetts. South Boston was once classified as a city in Virginia, but became the first city in Virginia's history to revert back to just town status. So yeah, that's it. That's the story of how there are 3 Bostons in Virginia. I'm not sure what you'll do with this information, but I hope you at least enjoyed watching. As for if these towns are points of interest, not really, but if you tell someone you're going to Boston and take them to a general store in a random mountain town in Virginia, it would be pretty funny, I think. Anyways, I'm out. Peace.
It's a mix of this shit stirred up out in the background scene, looking like the dog got in the trash, fitting back away a nigga tryna pop in the bag, catch a microwave, I forgot it's a splash when I cash out, blackout, trapped out my dad house, Jim Carrey the DVD, I pull a mask out, lunchtime grilling, get a pack, mad loud, hit a plate, run a route, I might pull a map out, I ain't jump off the porch, nigga I flew, who with the new, them 3 letters need 2, I got spine on my eyes, they get you, and my mama be sick, funeral flu.